Hello and welcome. I'm Melanie Militic, certified hypnotherapist, and you're here to learn about Slim Hypnosis and how it can help you to actually break through those barriers to the health goals that you've had for years and years. So I thought it would be appropriate for me to share with you why people find change, whether it's good for you or not, to be hard. And the fact is, if what you're attempting to do to get your health goals in check was easy, then everyone would be at it and we'd all be eating our vegetables, exercising regularly, and have the most perfect vital health, every single one of us. And in short, we'd accomplish all of our goals all of the time. But of course, reality is very different. In fact, they say that about 92% of resolutions fail. Now, we didn't really need a study to tell us that, truthfully. So many of us have started a new plan, have all the best intentions, only to, well, give up. In fact, they say it takes less than 2 weeks for most people to give up those resolutions. So why is that? Well, first, it's really important to understand the rules of the mind. And why this is so critical for you is going to be revealed very shortly, because you can essentially work with the rules of the mind with help so that this doesn't have to be so hard for you. So first, understanding your mind does exactly what it thinks you want it to do. It responds to the words and pictures that you tell it. It drives you towards what's familiar and away from what's unfamiliar. And most importantly, what we're going to focus on here right now is it does all it can to keep you alive, okay, to keep you safe. So your subconscious mind, its prime directive is to keep you safe. And I'm sure you're aware that you have this built-in fight or flight response, and it's there to help you to, well, either fight the bears or run from them. And that makes perfect sense if you're actually running from a saber-toothed tiger or a bear, but it's really not helping us in any way, shape, or form when we're talking about our health goals, right? So this fight or flight, it's hardwired in us. And if we know how to override this fight or flight, then everything becomes easy. What seems really hard, what seems to have kept you held back in the past, it becomes very easy when we give the mind something new to do. And we'll be talking more about that. So first, let's understand what actually triggers this thing that we call resistance. So essentially, your mind is trying to keep you safe, and it's safe from anything new at all. You can just think of it as your mind's driving you away from what's unfamiliar because it thinks it's really dangerous. And that new or dangerous is if something happens to us, but also when we decide to take new action. So you get this idea that you want to get your health goals, whatever they may be for you, in check. And you get this idea, and to your mind, this is new, this is dangerous. And at first, your mind is kind of thinking, well, this is just temporary. They're gonna, whatever's going on right now is temporary. It thinks that all new change is temporary, that you're just going to go back to your old ways, because who on earth actually really radically changes their life, right? Mind thinks, of course that can't be the case. This is just temporary. And this is in place because your mind is very adaptable to temporary change. And this works great for us in most situations, but in this situation, you're not wanting these health, these actions to get your health in check to be temporary. you're wanting them to be long-term, because that's a lifestyle change that actually means that you are living your most vitally healthy life. So, but just to understand, that's why when you get started with an exercise program, or you've got a new healthy eating plan, that's why the first week or so or even like 5 days, feels really fun, exciting, new, it's easy, right? It's because it thinks that, well, shortly you're going to give up on this, this thing that you've gotten on wrong, right? So what happens is, if you keep at it, if you try to keep at it, if you use your willpower to keep at it, right? You try to keep at it, then your mind comes up with some really powerful ways to stop you, to end this nonsense altogether, this new, right? And we call that, when we try to persist, right? When we persist at doing what is new and different, it realizes that you're serious, and it has no idea what the outcome's going to be. It just assumes the outcome is going to be dangerous. So again, it seems really weird. You taking this action that is obviously healthy to your conscious mind, right? Your conscious mind knows that these actions are healthy and they're going to keep you alive, for that matter, right? And it seems really weird that your mind would try to stop you from doing something that's obviously keeping you alive. But to your mind, it's not, this part of your mind, this subconscious, survival instinct part of your mind, is really not that smart. They call it the reptilian brain for a reason, right? Its job is just to stop you, to put the brakes on anything new, because it doesn't know that it's safe. Okay? And so at this point, what happens is it kicks in your flight response. It stops you in your tracks. You might call this procrastination, you might call this self-sabotage, whatever you've called it in the past, you've experienced this, right? The flight response goes on. This is when you start, cheating more days than you're eating right, when you start skipping those workouts that seem so exciting and fun and made you feel amazing. You just start skipping them and reverting back to your same old habits. And every time you do this, every time you roll back into your same old habits, your subconscious actually learns how to effectively stop you better. So it gets smarter, it gets better at stopping you. So you'll find that, the fifth time you've started a new healthy regimen, you're more likely to quit faster than the third time you start it. And eventually, many of you watching may be saying, yeah, that's why I don't even start anymore. But you're still here considering this, and for very good reason. Now, the good news is we are smarter than this reptilian brain. You're a conscious human being. You have this wonderful part of you here that when you learn this information, you can use it. When we persist beyond this flight, when we go, no, I'm going to continue to eat better because it's making me feel better. I'm going to continue to drink water. I'm going to continue moving, whatever that looks like for you. Then this wonderful thing called fight kicks in. And don't get me wrong here. When we're talking about fighting a bear or something, it's not the same. It's the same, but it's in a different context. This fight is fighting for yourself. So your subconscious mind realizes you're not flying, you're not leaving, you're not running from this. Instead, you're going to stay and fight the bear. You're going to stay and fight those negative consequences. You're going to stay and fight and become a new you. And then it kicks in for you. This fight is empowering. This is invigorating. It makes us feel amazing and like we are unstoppable. This feeling we all want more of in every part of our life. And I'm just going to say, I bet you that you do have parts of your life where this fight has been strengthened over time. Because that's exactly what happens. See, just like the ego learns how to take you out, it also learns that you like to fight. And over time, it will more quickly move you from, oh no, resistance, to, all right, they're a fighter. We're going to fight. So it actually learns to fight. Isn't that a beautiful thing? So this only happens after we get through resistance and we get to the fight stage. And, you know, in the face of committed action, resistance really does just wear off. And it's important to note, you're here watching, you're here getting information, you're in the information gathering stage. And resistance is most strong when you're here, because how many people know everything they should be doing to have a healthy lifestyle? They know it all. They've watched, they've read, they have, you know, a world of audiobooks, ebooks, magazines, a bookshelf full, courses they've taken, whatever it was. They know everything they're supposed to do, but they haven't done it. Now, why is that? And it's because resistance is most present before you even get off the couch or before you ever get into the kitchen. Okay, so resistance is, and that's why people don't get started. They simply don't. They're sitting on their hands because resistance is strongest then. When you have somebody that really is going to motivate you, perhaps you've got an accountability partner or somebody who you're accountable to, and you're like, I've got to go and get this workout in because whatever, you know that once you get to that workout, once you're moving and those endorphins start flowing, you feel amazing. You know that when you start that new healthy eating regimen, that you feel amazing, that this is exactly what you know you should be doing. This is what we call flow, right? And so the most important thing is that we do get into action, because if you just sit in resistance before you're getting started all the time, well, then you've got a whole lot of expensive education and not a lot of results to show for it. This resistance thing that we all have at a really high level, you know, it's part of us. It's not going anywhere. But the nice thing is it dissipates with committed action, right? So how the heck do you get into action? Well, a lot of people get into action when they have something that we call a wake-up call, right? Maybe something happened to you or somebody that's near and dear to you that you love, right? And you recognize that these habits that you have now are essentially really more threatening to you, right? So the habits that you're doing right now could cause you to die, right? So when we realize that the comfort zone that we stay in, the one that keeps us in just like, let's just research all different types of ways and watch every workout under the sun on video, right? Let's go into this, whatever the journey is. When you realize that that comfort zone is more dangerous than change, or then your mind may well kick you into action. But I think it's important to talk about that comfort zone real quick, because you're still wondering, well, why the heck is my mind keeping me someplace that's dangerous? And the answer is your mind knows how to keep you safe at your current level. That's why it likes sane. So it likes the current, even if it feels yucky to you. It knows what to do there. So that's why it's hesitant to let you move. So this wake-up call, it can be really loud for some, and it works, and some people just instantly change, just like that. And then there's those who, even with those wake-up calls, don't make any changes. I mean, we've all known people that this describes. You might know somebody, for example, that has diabetes, yet they don't necessarily, watch what they're eating or take their insulin, and they end up losing a limb. And then you think wake-up call, and then they end up losing another one. This is more common than you would think. the question is, why? If for some the wake-up call is to drastically change, why do some still stay exactly the same? And the answer is because your subconscious mind is the most powerful and persistent part of your mind. Your habits and your beliefs about yourself and your place in the world, they rule everything. It's like you have this really smart, you've got the mouse and the elephant. It's a good, right? You've got this really amazing, book smart mouse. He's got all the excitement to make all the changes in the world, right? And it's going for it. And then the elephant mind kicks in to keep you standing exactly where you've always been. Now that, it's not going to move. It's not going to move unless, well, you move it. And that's exactly why you're listening to a hypnotherapist talk to you about the rules of the mind and how to bypass this, reptilian mind stuff completely, because you're way smarter than that, right? You've got all of the resources, all of the tools right here in this prefrontal cortex of yours to make this work for you once and for all. When I say once and for all, I mean forever, for the rest of your long, long life. Not to just stick to something for short term to see results and then revert back to your old ways, right? So remembering the rules of the mind. And you know what? The fact is, you don't have to necessarily remember these rules of the mind, because I do. This is how I work for you, with your mind, right? So your mind does what it thinks you want it to do. So guess what? I teach it that this is what you really, really want. It responds to the words and pictures you tell it. I help that in a major way with neuro-linguistic programming. It drives you towards what's familiar and away from what's unfamiliar. And I actually teach your mind that it wants to be running towards this unfamiliar, that it is incredibly pleasurable to run towards this familiar. And then we work with keeps you alive and away from pain. We make your old situation, make it really obvious to your mind that you find that painful. So since your mind's moving you towards pleasure and away from pain, you're running from your old habits to your new. And essentially, with hypnosis, I'm convincing your mind that what you want, not what I want, not what anybody else wants, what you want is really good for you. And you think to yourself, well, if I know that, why the heck doesn't my mind know that? And the answer is, well, without getting too complicated, there's something called the critical factor in your mind that keeps all new information away from this subconscious that runs your behaviors and habits. But with hypnotherapy, hypnosis, I actually bypass that and get straight to the most powerful, persistent part of your mind so that you get it on board. And when you get your mind on board to work with you, I say, when you get your subconscious on board to work with you, it does all the heavy lifting, right? It's going to help you to move into committed action faster than you've ever done before. You'll bypass that resistance altogether. And remember, when I said, when you stick to committed action, that fight response becomes stronger. Well, that's exactly what you'll be doing, but without all the pain part, right? Without fighting the resistance as much. You will be strengthening your drive, your motivation, your commitment to yourself, to your own health and longevity. And this is really easy to do. I've got a FAQ on the site that will answer a whole lot more, but it's not hard at all. It's about 2 hours. Boom. That's the difference between rapid transformational hypnotherapy and other hypnotherapy, by the way. 2 hours, either in my chair or online video, just like this, my friend. And you will be free. You'll be free from the habits of the past, stepping into the healthy lifestyle habits that you're committed to. And you'll find that this makes a permanent change because it changes your mindset. It's not something that you need willpower or anything else to do. As I said, your subconscious mind, it does all the heavy lifting. So what you'll do with Slim Hypnosis and Rapid Transformational Hypnotherapy is you will move into that wonderful state we call flow, right? You'll experience more wins faster, and you'll learn to celebrate them. In fact, that's built into the program, that you celebrate your wins so that your mind has no doubt what you really, really want. Remember, that's rule number one of the mind. You will then enjoy healthy eating, and you'll enjoy moving your body. Now, notice, nobody said the D word, right? To die to a T, as they say, diet. Nobody said the D word. And at this point, I'd love to introduce somebody who actually agrees with me that to diet is to die with a T. And with this, introducing the most powerful way to make Slim Hypnosis work for you is to combine the Rapid Transformational Hypnotherapy with expert coaching. And with that, I'd like to introduce Miss Dawn McLaughlin, the Food Freedom Coach. Hello, Dawn. Welcome.
Hi, Melanie. How are you? I love listening to what you shared. It's such amazingly powerful stuff.
Thank you so much. You're amazing.
So yes, just following on what Melanie talked about, once you use the RTT, the Rapid Transformational Therapy, to really remove those blocks, then you are open to learning how to eat naturally the way that we were meant to. And that's where I come in. That's where I help people rediscover their own body's nutritional wisdom. I mean, we were born to be able to eat when we were hungry, stop when we were full, to eat for pleasure, to understand, to have that connection with our body and understand how different foods affect our body, so that we eat for energy, we eat to feel good. And this is what I help my clients do. I help them. It's a form of intuitive eating, but it's also, I have a background in eating psychology. I'm certified as an eating psychology coach and also a transformational mindset coach. And I help people discover their own nutritional blueprint, because everyone is a different individual. And that's one of the areas where diets just really fail, because diets, well, one of the areas, there's so many, because diets are these prescriptive systems that don't take into account the individual's body. And everybody's body, everybody's lifestyle is different. And so I help people find what works for them through a process that I've created. It's called the Total Mind Body Transformation.
Awesome. So when they combine Slim Hypnosis with the Total Body Transformation, let me give them a picture of what they get. What kind of coaching can they expect when working with you?
Work on activities to check into your body, to help you reduce your stress around food, to get you to a place where there's no list of good foods and bad foods. There are foods that make my body feel good, right? It's not that there's a forbidden list, a eat this, don't eat that list. It's that you discover that when I eat these certain foods, man, do I have great energy, and I, really just have this vitality, and I sleep well, and all these other things. And I help you gravitate and really recognize that connection, because we go through our lives, we are so busy. I like to say that we have become human doings rather than human beings. We go through our lives just doing, and we don't pay attention. We don't check in with our body. So it's really about creating that mindfulness about what's going on in your body, and linking it up to your foods and your other habits, your other lifestyle habits, your sleep, your exercise, your movement, and developing that intuitive muscle. I mean, I can look at food now, and I know I can look at a food and know how it's going to make me feel, and I use that to decide whether I want to eat it or not. Now, this is, for me, has been a huge change, because I dieted, I don't know, probably 20 years on and off, as I think many of us have done. I've tried so many different diets. I've lost weight, I've gained weight, and I also developed an eating disorder from primarily from the result of dieting for so long, but there are always other factors going on, which is why RTT is really important. So I've been there, right? I know what people have been going through, and I know how to create what I like to call food freedom. I mean, just imagine if food is not an issue for you. Right? Imagine, so we're in January of 2019. Imagine when January of 2020 comes around, and you know what? You don't have to make a New Year's resolution around health because you devoted the time, you invested the time and the energy to get this thing handled once and for all. And so you just rock it.
I love that. I love that, Dawn. And I absolutely love that you said there's no forbidden foods list, no eat this, not that, nothing restrictive going on like that, except for the kinds of restrictions that you choose. So you're choosing, it's not about what you can't have, because your mind doesn't like can'ts at all.
Right.
Right? It's what you choose to have. And when you empower your mind with choices and let your mind know you're choosing to do this, you love this, you're excited to do this, you're delighted about it, oh my gosh, does it get on board? So I love that. That's exactly
and
why.
you take away, I mean, through diet culture, we've put food on this pedestal. We've given our control to the food. And instead you take it back. You're getting to that place where food is just no big deal. You choose to have it or you don't. It doesn't have that emotional charge anymore. So there's not all of that feeling of deprivation and scarcity and, oh, if I don't have this now, I'm never going to have another chance again. So I better have it. Not only that, but I better have as much as I can. You know, that just evaporates. And, you know, it's honestly, it's such a wonderful place to live from, you know, to have no big deal. You know, we just came through the holidays, and I hear a lot of people out there saying how crappy they feel because of the way they ate during the holidays. And I didn't experience that. I didn't deprive myself, but it's because even during the holidays, I choose to feel good. I choose to feel good in my body. I choose to feel energetic so that I can actually really enjoy the holidays, right? Because you go through the holidays all lethargic and blah, that's no fun.
Mm-hmm. So awesome and so exciting. So I love the fact that this is something that it's not a one size fits all in any way, that you really do have the expertise. You're probably the most qualified food coach that I know, and that's exactly why I've chosen to work with you to have our clients experience the most complete total mind-body transformation ever. So thank you so much for working with MindWorks and me in this capacity.
Trust me, it's my pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
All right, so to learn more and to get started, you can visit slimhypnosis.com today. And there you'll see exactly where you can book a call to get any of your questions answered as well. And on behalf of MindWorks, Melanie Militix, and Ms. Dawn McLaughlin, I want to thank you for being with us today.